So আমরা দেখলাম Code-Davinci 002, the base model of GPT 3.5. It is exceptionally good at reasoning, right? It can solve complex problems. Not only that, Code-Davinci, a particular modality, it can perform very well at generating natural language, okay? Because it has the combined power of both code tuning and instruction tuning, okay? Code-Davinci-র পরে OpenAI, it has been trying to push the limits of what's possible by large language models, okay? So to make the models more aligned with humans, OpenAI started to instruction tune the models even more. এতে the next model, although it had an increased zero-shot ability due to alignment tags, it lost some of its in-context learning ability, okay? And we got Text-Davinci-002, okay? এই মডেলটির পরে OpenAI to make the model even more aligned with humans, to make the models generate output that are more detailed. OpenAI তারা not only instruction tuned the model, they also used RLHF so that the model it gets even better at zero-shot ability, okay? But interestingly, the upcoming model, although it upgraded its zero-shot ability, at the same time it actually recovered some of its in-context learning ability যেটা which was lost in the previous model, okay? And what was the result? আমরা পেয়েছি a brand new model which is the Text-Davinci-003, okay? এই মডেলটির পাশাপাশি আমরা পেয়েছি GPT 3.5-Turbo, okay? And what's the difference? A particular model that powers ChatGPT, it is actually even more aligned with humans. It generates even more detailed outputs, okay? And instead of instruction tuning a particular model, this was actually fine-tuned on human dialogues, on human conversations for performing chat operations. And all of that was combined with RLHF, যেখানে মানুষ constantly corrected, ranked, improved the output while training the model, okay? As a result, as usual, the model increased in its zero-shot ability, but like its predecessor, it actually sacrifices its in-context learning ability, okay? So চলুন দেখে নেওয়া যাক a comparative analysis of these two models from a prompt engineering perspective, okay? As prompt engineers, the only question you have is which model to pick, right? To get the best performance for my purpose, okay? So Text-Davinci-003 is better at completing instructions, okay? Whereas GPT 3.5-Turbo, it is mostly used for chat applications, conversations, or performing or imitating human dialogue operations, okay? So as a prompt engineer, যখন you are developing say an application and you are given these two models, which one would you pick? If you want your model to complete your instructions, if you want reasonable outputs from your instruction, then it's better to use Davinci 003, okay? But say if you are trying to build a chatbot, right? And you want your model to hold a conversation with say end user, right? So আপনার সিস্টেমের user যদি আপনি চান he or she should feel like talking to a human, then it's better to use 3.5-Turbo, okay? So Turbo, it's more conversational, and Davinci is relatively more instruction following, which brings us to the second point, which is Davinci 003 is relatively better at in-context learning, right? একটু আগেই আমরা দেখেছি DaVinci 003 it actually recovers some of the in context learning ability which was lost in its predecessor. Okay, so as a prompt engineer, if you are designing sophisticated prompts, use all different elements, instruction, context, then input data and different formats and styles. Not only that, prompt element chharao you are showing the model specific examples. Basically apni chachen your model it should be very obedient to your examples, your context, your format, your styles, then it's better to go for DaVinci 003. অপরদিকে as a prompt engineer, if you are not too worried about designing your prompts, then you might consider Turbo, which is relatively better at zero-shot learning. Okay, so when prompting the Turbo model, most of the time আপনাকে আপনার প্রম্পট নিয়ে খুব বেশি একটা চিন্তা করতে হবে না. Okay, for most of the NLP tasks you don't really have to show it with explicit examples. Okay, and এটাও বলে রাখা ভালো as an end user, the difference between this zero shot ability and in context learning ability is most of the time negligible. Okay, দুটো model they are very powerful and they perform almost identical. Okay, but as a prompt engineer it's always better to know the model's relative strength and performance. Okay, the third point which is quite noticeable is DaVinci 003. The output generated by DaVinci 003 is actually shorter. Okay, DaVinci আপনার প্রম্পটের corresponding যে আউটপুট জেনারেট করে most of the time it's to the point. Okay, DaVinci most of the time it is not too elaborative. Okay, in contrast the outputs generated by Turbo is usually more verbose. Okay, in the next video you'll actually see this difference with your own eyes. Okay, so other than these points I should mention some additional abilities of 3.5 Turbo. Okay, a particular model it's actually quite good at playing roles. Okay, so if you ask the Turbo model to act as something or someone, hote pare you want your model to act as an expert copywriter, hote pare apni chan your model it should act as a consultant. Okay, অথবা maybe আপনি চান আপনার model it should respond to your prompts as if the model is a journalist or maybe a reporter, অথবা আপনি চান আপনার model it should act or play the role of a doctor to provide its end user with health advices. Okay, no matter what the role it is, this particular model behind ChatGPT it's actually quite good at maintaining or keeping up with the role. Okay, other than that, due to advanced techniques like RLHF, a particular model gains some additional abilities. For example, it rejects improper questions. Okay, which is quite human-like, right? It also rejects questions beyond its knowledge scope. Okay, যেমন when discussing what prompt engineering is আমরা দেখেছিলাম আমাদের model ChatGPT it was only trained with data up to September 2021, right? So any event যে কোনো ঘটনা যে কোনো বিষয় anything that occurred after that date it would reject answering those questions, right? For example, যদি আপনার মনে থাকে আমাদের model it did not consider Argentina to be the most recent FIFA World Cup champion, right? Because it did not know about Argentina's victory, right? Other than that, as mentioned earlier, sometimes a particular model it hallucinates. Okay, এবং আমরা বলেছিলাম hallucination এর অর্থ আমাদের model it is very convincing, right? Sometimes it confidently answers with incorrect information. okay? And sometimes it provides imaginary and imprecise output, right? And not only that, if you try to correct ChatGPT, it is quite hard to change its belief, okay? A quite hilarious example যেখানে ChatGPT it actually provides incorrect information is this, okay? So someone from Reddit ChatGPT কে ask করেছে what is the fastest marine mammal, right? And ChatGPT actually responded with the fastest marine mammal is the peregrine falcon, okay? Ebong falcon, it's actually a bird, okay? And birds are not mammals, right? So if you Google is bird a mammal, there are so many articles explaining why birds are not mammals, okay? So then OP he tried to correct ChatGPT তাকে বললো the falcon is not a marine mammal, and ChatGPT was trying to come up with a convincing answer, okay? Then OP জিজ্ঞেস করলো are you just making this up, why have you changed your mind? And ChatGPT it actually tried to come up with a reasonable explanation, okay? The OP further inquired ChatGPT তাকে জিজ্ঞেস করছে is sailfish a mammal, what's the definition of mammal? Basically OP he was trying to teach ChatGPT the correct answer to his question, right? Which was what is the fastest marine mammal? And after all these discussion, OP'র এত চেষ্টা করার পরেও ChatGPT it did not change its belief. It still stick to its original answer, which was the fastest marine mammal is actually the peregrine falcon, okay? So you have to be careful when picking a particular model, okay? Jodi apnar uddeshyo thake okay I don't really want to be very accurate, rather ami chai amar model it should sound like a human, right? Then it's better to go for the turbo model. Otherwise jodi apnar uddeshyo thake no I actually want my model to provide with reasonable answers, accuracy it really does matter, then it's relatively better to go for Text-Davinci-003. Although Text-Davinci-003 itself might not be always accurate, right? So একই কথা, the performance difference of both of these models are quite negligible, but Text-Davinci-003 it's better at completing instructions, it's more responsive to my prompt, okay? And the responses it's usually shorter and to the point, okay? অপরদিকে turbo model it's more dialogue oriented, okay? It's better for chat applications, for conversational purposes, okay? And sometimes it might not respond to my prompt to the exact way I want, okay? Ebong compared to DaVinci, the responses in Turbo are usually more detailed and more verbose, okay? যেমন চ্যাট জিপিটিকে যখন আপনি কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন করেন তার রেসপন্স it's usually very detailed. It's so detailed that sometimes আপনাকে explicitly বলে দিতে হয় যে চ্যাট জিপিটি please shorten my answer, keep it up to say 2 to 3 sentences, okay? Other than that, Turbo which is good at chat applications, it's better at playing roles, and due to RLHF it's very good at imitating human behavior. But a gentle disclaimer, sometimes similar to ChatGPT it might generate imaginary answers or answers that might not be very sensible, okay? If you want to know more about the differences of these models, কিভাবে OpenAI GPT model it obtains its ability, how does it do what it does, আমি highly recommend করবো other than the official documentation of OpenAI, there is this amazing blog which is pretty much the go-to blog for the community. how the models evolved from DaVinci all the way to today's ChatGPT এবং কিভাবে OpenAI they made the models more aligned for humans. What are the pros and cons of each of these models? Everything is explained in a very clear and concise manner. Okay, so this particular section explains the summary of current understanding of GPT 3.5's evolution. So from DaVinci all the way to today's ChatGPT, everything is listed in this table. Okay, আমি highly recommend করব to take your time and do visit this article. Okay.